Hello everyone, this is Latha Akula. In this video, we are going to study about next cell organelle, mitochondria. So the mitochondria, this is the shape of the mitochondria. The other name for the mitochondria was powerhouses of the cell. So why they were called as powerhouses of the cell? We will see. And here, if you see the shapes of these mitochondria, they were small, spherical, cylindrical or sausage-shaped ones. And the size of these mitochondria were 1 micrometers to 4.1 micrometers in length and 0.5 micrometers in width. How much? 1 to 4.1 micrometers in length and 0.5 micrometers width. And this number of mitochondria that may varies from the cell to cell, they may range from 100 to 150 per cell depending upon the requirement of energy. And if you see the structure of mitochondria, the mitochondria, they made up of double membrane wall. They consist of two membranes, outer membrane and inner membrane. Two membranes were present. The inner membrane, they will protrude inside, and the infoldings are present. Those infoldings are called as cristae. So these cristae, inside the cristae, the space inside the cristae, that is inner membrane, is called as matrix. Here, because of the infoldings in the cristae, that increases because of the foldings, that increases the surface area for different chemical reactions takes place. And what are the chemical reactions takes place here? So within the matrix, the cellular respiration takes place. What is meant by cellular respiration? The respiration takes place inside the cell is called as cellular respiration. And what is the importance of respiration? Any cell that derives energy, right? Any cell to perform all its functions, it requires energy. How the cell derives its energy? By means of the process of respiration only, the cell was able to get the energy. Here in the mitochondria, that cellular respiration takes place to release energy. And what type of respiration takes place here? In this, aerobic respiration takes place. Aerobic respiration means the respiration which occurs in the presence of oxygen. If it takes place in the absence of oxygen, that is called as anaerobic respiration. But here the cell performs aerobic respiration, that is in the presence of oxygen only the respiration occurs. Here inside the matrix, aerobic respiration takes place. By means of that aerobic respiration, that releases ATP. So during the respiration, what are released? ATP were released. And this ATP means, full form is adenosine. A means adenosine, T means tri, P means phosphates. What the ATP consists of? Adenosine triphosphates. What is the full form of ATP? Adenosine triphosphates. During the respiration, the energy, the ATP were released. And these ATP, they were the sources of energy. Here, hence this ATP were called as energy currency of the cell. Where the energy was stored? In the form of ATP, the energy was stored. And here, the ATP were called as energy currency of the cell. The energy is released from this ATP. And here, the mitochondria, so they release ATP, right, by performing the cellular respiration. ATP, mitochondria was releasing the ATP. Hence, the ATP was giving energy. Hence, the mitochondria, we are calling it as powerhouse of the cell. So, within the cell, to perform various functions, the energy is required. The energy is released from the mitochondria in the form of ATP by performing respiration. Hence, the mitochondria were called as powerhouse of the cell. So, that is why the mitochondria were called as powerhouse of the cell. In addition to this, the mitochondria, they consist of its own DNA and ribosomes are present. its own DNA and ribosomes are present, and hence they were able to make their own proteins. So they were able to, here the ribosomes function is to protein synthesis, and here it consists of its own DNA and ribosomes, and they were able to make their own proteins. This is about mitochondria. In the next video we are going to study about plastics.